China and Russia recently announced that they are going to be launching a new global reserve currency. That's right, I'm going to say it one more time, just in case you didn't hear me the first time. China and Russia have announced that they are jointly going to be working on creating a new international reserve currency to replace the U.S. dollar. Ready? Let's dive in. Real quick, a word from today's sponsor, Swan Bitcoin. I use Swan Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin every single day. I dollar cost average, I stack sats. That means that as the price of Bitcoin is volatile and moving downwards, I'm getting my total overall position at a lower cost. I'm averaging down into it. The reason I use Swan Bitcoin is because we're looking around today, we're watching crypto exchanges lay people off. They're falling over like flies because they've all been not conservative. They've taken out leverage, but not so with Swan Bitcoin. They're extremely conservative, so I know that it's safe to use them. Because they only focus on Bitcoin, they're very efficient, very cheap, and the best part is they're extremely safe because your Bitcoin doesn't stay with them. You auto withdraw to a wallet of your choice whenever you want, and that's why I use Swan Bitcoin. And if you use my link in the description below, you will get $15 worth of Bitcoin just for signing up. Despite the fact that this could be one of those big turning points in the dollar losing its global power, this is not being covered that much by major news outlets. However, we do have two articles on this. One of them is from Quoth the Raven, and the other one is from Bitcoin.com. I will link both of these articles in the description below. But one thing that is going on right now is Russia and China, they are looking to develop a currency to replace the U.S. dollar in terms of a currency used for international trade. Now, this shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody because they've been talking about doing stuff like this for a very long time, number one. Number two, they've been preparing to do something like this for a very long time as well. But what is a surprise is that Putin actually came right out and said this at the BRICS meeting last month. He said the issue of creating an international reserve currency based on a basket of currencies of our countries is being worked out. Now, at least at first, this would be specifically for the BRICS nations, which also includes Brazil, India, China, and South Africa. However, Turkey, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia are all considering joining BRICS. Now, you could probably name 100 reasons why any specific country would want to get rid of the dollar and use a currency that is more neutral or less controlled by one single nation, but Putin specifically has a laundry list of them. Last month, Putin gave a speech, and as NPR points out here, he blamed the U.S. for fostering crises around the world regarding food security, inflation, and trade. He said Americans think of themselves as exceptional, and if they think they're exceptional, that means everyone else is second class. He also pointed out that the sanctions have really done more damage to the countries issuing them than to the Russian economy, saying that the European Union in particular has committed economic suicide by cutting back on natural gas and oil imports from Russia. This is because, like I mentioned earlier, Russia specifically has been doing a lot over the past decade to reduce their exposure to the dollar. Take a look at this chart that shows the reduction in dollar holdings that they've held over the years, and take a look at this chart which shows the increase in gold reserves they've accumulated over the years. In addition, they've been increasing their trade with other BRICS countries, and even this year they've increased by 38%. All of this together points to the fact that Russia and China are trying to develop an economic sphere that excludes the West, including the West's money, the dollar. Now, like I said earlier, for anybody who's been paying attention over the last few years, none of this should come as any surprise. When you have a monopoly on money, and then you abuse that monopoly for your own benefit, you are eventually going to lose that monopoly. And that is why, for all of human history, every fiat currency has eventually failed. You know, the word fiat means by decree or by declaration. That means a fiat currency is only in use because the government declares that it should be in use. However, a government can only enforce its decrees, its declarations, by force, by violence. If you don't do it, they will use violence to imprison you, kill you, invade your country, whatever. Right? And so instead of calling a fiat currency a currency by declaration or by decree, what we really should be saying is that a fiat currency is a currency by force or money by violence, which is why they always fail. Now, one thing that we recognize when we look back through history is that the global reserve currency tends to shift from one superpower to another. However, this transition period, it's a long time. It takes a lot longer for these things to unfold than we might expect. When we look back, we're looking back at, let's say 5,000 years. This looks like a little blip, but it might have taken 50 years, 100 years for something to unfold like that. And so when we're looking at the transition period right now, it seems pretty apparent by all these things that are going on right now that the dollar is on the edge of failure. Yes, the dollar is strengthening versus other garbage currencies like the euro and the yen, but that really doesn't have much to do with the fact that the global financial system is based on a monetary system that is failing. The question is, what comes after this? A lot of people will look at this global reserve currency that China and Russia launch and say that's the future, especially given the fact that it looks like it will be based on commodities, especially precious metals like gold and silver. However, many other people will say, no, we're actually going to move to a Bitcoin standard or maybe some cryptocurrency. And there will be plenty of others who are good citizens saying, hey, actually what's going to take over the world is a central bank digital currency and it'll be great for everybody. The reality is that more than likely, all of these systems will pop up. We are going to see a fracturing and a breaking down and a collapse of the globalized monetary system. New competitors will rise up. We will see some pure fiat currencies pop up as a new competitor. We will see some central bank digital currencies pop up as a new competitor, probably in places like the United States. We will probably see some commodity-backed or precious metal-backed, gold-backed currencies pop up out of places like Russia. We will also see Bitcoin-based monetary systems pop up like we've already started seeing out of countries like El Salvador. Now, money is a winner-take-all game. Over the long-term horizon, one form of money will take over all and it will be the winner, and everybody will start to use the form of money that is most beneficial for most people's uses. But it is not going to happen overnight, and things like this, where countries decide, hey, we're going to create a new form of money that is not controlled by one person and that is more advantageous for us, they will enter the scene, and other countries like Egypt and Saudi Arabia are looking at this and saying, do I want to be married to the past or do I want to embark on the future? And it's anybody's guess which system will take over and will win in the end, but it does highlight the importance for every single investor, every single person to have some of your wealth spread around. Because in all likelihood, if this new currency between Russia and China takes off, you're not going to be able to buy it with dollars. And you're probably almost certainly not going to be able to buy it with a new United States central bank digital currency. That being said, you probably also won't be able to use a CBDC to buy Bitcoin or straight up gold either, which is why it is more important than ever to spread your wealth around, have a little bit of your savings in outside of the system places like gold, like Bitcoin, in other countries, so that if push comes to shove, you can access it if you need. Because by the time the day comes where you need it, you probably won't be able to get it. As always, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.